Well, hi there. Welcome back. It's nice to be back after a 3-day venture out in the bush on a nice off-road trip. Anyway, let's get right down to it. As there's a little bit of positive talk here about some possible solutions, you'll notice how directly linked not only precious metals, but crypto is as well. Right now, I'd say it's a great opportunity to be buying. Here we are in the middle of November, and things have taken a nice, handsome correction in crypto, and I think it's a gift for most people that are looking at purchasing. Same thing with precious metals, but as I was saying before, and I learned this through Martin Armstrong, I used to be not really a gold bug, but I used to listen to all the chatter about, it's always a better time to buy and, things are going to the moon, but somehow the second stage didn't ignite, comes back to Earth, so it's a great time to be buying. It always seems to repeat the same scenarios until Armstrong taught me that metal, and I'm starting to learn now, evidently, crypto also, is directly linked to geopolitical situations, far more than economic situations. So I urge you to pay attention to that because there is some good opportunities right now. Excuse me. As holidays are right around the corner, folks have got a lot of things on their mind. And for a lot of folks, unfortunately, it's not going to be such a great holiday season. People are hurting. And I can tell you, I back what I've been saying with the mentors for well over 2 years now. You are going to see a war break out, and a serious war, a group of wars break out in the first parts of 2026. So take advantage while you can, because both metal and crypto, it's highly likely they're going to be going up substantially into the new year. So this could be a perfect time for you. It's basically going to be a group of wars. It's not going to be, and again, I urge you to read that 200 plus page PDF I linked on my previous video. There's a wealth of knowledge. If you truly want to protect yourselves and find out how we got into this mess and perhaps where we're going, you need to look at this because it's not going to be pretty for a lot of folks. And I'm not trying to be negative when I say this. I'm just trying to say it is what it is. So wouldn't you rather know that something is coming so it doesn't come like a tidal wave that's breaking on the shore? Tidal waves, when I worked at sea, tidal waves, they're barely noticeable out in the middle of the ocean. It's only when it gets the resistance of the shore and the speed that they're attaining that create that giant crest. Well, wouldn't you rather know that's coming and best prepare yourselves to whatever your abilities are rather than just always wondering, like my website's called, gee, something feels wrong. That's exactly why I named it that way, because everybody around the world in different languages was basically saying the same thing. I don't really understand it, but something feels wrong. Well, wouldn't you rather know about it? That's why we keep bringing this up to your attention. So it's not an insurmountable shock. If you know about what's going to come, you can better prepare, and there's a vast higher percentage that you and your family is going to be okay. In almost any place that you live, preparation is the key. And I'm not saying you have to, go crazy and like I say, a bunch of ammunition to the point where you can arm a small army. That's not the case. Being aware of what's happening will best allow you to deal with it because panic won't set in. Another thing I want to bring to attention on is the fact that this little lull before 2026, it's creating, and I like to stay positive about this, there is possibilities of peace if government, and particularly if NATO and Europe, because those are your two enemies, regardless of what you've been taught and what propaganda you've been listening to, those are your two enemies. Europe is broke. They have to have war to get the attention off blaming the government. NATO has to have war, or what is their purpose? They are not there to band together and create peace. It's the opposite. They need war. To need war, you need an enemy. Welcome, Vladimir Putin. He's never had a desire to do any kind of invasions to anywhere in the West and anywhere in Europe, but yet if they do not portray an enemy, there's just no need for these funds. And people are going to be chasing their politicians, both in the West, but particularly in Europe, with all kinds of pitchforks and weaponry, because they know they're at fault. But if they can somehow convince the people that it was this war that drained our economy, and we were doing it to protect our country, our sovereignty, our democracy, and any other words you want to throw at it, it alleviates the uninformed, or the worse yet, the misinformed, and it gets them to, well, yeah, I guess it really isn't their fault. They were only trying to defend the country. Well, they're not, because there's no threat to the country. So understand, this is going to be a group of wars. You're going to have Israel, NATO, US, Iran. You're going to have Pakistan, Turkey. You're going to have several wars developing at the same time. Not anything like World War II, when it was Germany and Japan against pretty much the rest of the world. It's going to be a contagion of wars, several that are happening at the same time. Just best prepare yourself. Now, I want to go back to suggesting that there are multitudes of countries that are going to favor better off during these next 5-6 years than many others. I encourage you to consider relocating if the means are there to do it. Place your family in a safer environment. While we all are going to be affected, it's to a much lesser degree in many countries that are in South America, the Dominican Republic, and several other countries. When I did my research long before I moved here, which we're getting close to 20 years, it's actually celebrating our 18th year here, I did a bunch of research, and we didn't move here for the beautiful beaches, and we did move here partly for the weather, because any country that freezes does not make my cut list should there be grid failures, obviously. After you burn the furniture and the picture frames, there's not much else to keep you warm. So climate played a part on it, not the beauty of the country. Food definitely played a huge part of it. Where we live in our region, there's food dripping off the trees, from mangoes, avocados, oranges. There's all kinds of stuff. So food is not going to be an issue here. I noticed over the last, I'd say 4.5 years since the pandemic, I noticed how so many countries are just going at each other's throats. There's no political difference anymore. It's you're my way or you're an enemy. There's no more such a thing as being on one side of a political view or another and discussing it. If you're not with us, you're our enemy. And that's exactly where they want the people, because it helps propel people into smaller groups, and it does help also build revolution, which is where we're heading in many countries, particularly in the West and Europe. Anyway, you might want to consider voting with your feet, as they say, and place you and your family into a much better environment where people are still like they were many decades ago. Children still want to be with the parents. They enjoy a much freer life, much less government intervention, and just in general a much peaceful environment. And I can honestly say 4.5 years later, after the pandemic, I see the changes here. And I see the changes back in the States where I just was, and I see the changes in Canada where I was a couple years ago. And I haven't been to Europe for quite some time there, but I hear it from all my subscribers how everybody is at each other's throats. That is not the place you want to be. Get educated, get moving, and consider what I'm saying, because it's nothing but truth. And I'm certainly not saying the Dominican Republic, where I live, is right for everyone. It is not. And this is a large country. It's got everything from, you want city life, you want nightlife, you want plays, movies, entertainment, you want country, you want healthy food, you want a natural environment. It's got it all. It's got it all. But there's a lot of other places too. If you want to come down to this one, where we've got several people coming out to see Old Barry in the wintertime, I will show you more in 4 or 5 days of this part of the country, and you'll know really quick, does this make sense? Does it resonate? You won't need me to tell you that. You'll feel it from inside on your own. We've relocated over 100 families in different countries. I'd say about 80 plus in this country alone. You'll know it on yourself. We're not going to push you into anything. However, if you get a sense, you'll know what to do from there. And if you don't, you're going to at least say, what a fantastic time, what a beautiful country, but it's not right for me. And you know what? In any case, you're right. We'll talk to you soon. It's Barry.